Hello, and welcome to my review of The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 3. Sorry it's taken me so long to get this up there, but I've been suffering from a bit of a throat infection the last few days. Hopefully it's just that and nothing too apocalyptic. So, without any more delay, let's just dive in. And as always, if you like what I'm doing, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to break down the whole episode and go through some of my favourite scenes in a bit more detail. So, warning, like zombies, there are spoilers ahead. So if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Go out and watch it right now. The show is amazing. Go and watch it. Go and watch it. So the episode kicks off with Joel reflecting on the immediate aftermath of the previous episode where Tess has died. He builds her a small little shrine out of stones. He's having a bit of a moment of quiet reflection. The shrine is all he's able to give her, really, so he can't bury her. We then move on to Ellie and Joel clearly feeling awkward as Joel blames Ellie for Tess's death. Right at this point I'm getting worried because in a lesser show with lesser writing you would expect a forced friction to be there between the two characters until there's suddenly a payoff later on. Ellie tells Joel straight away, it's not my fault. You guys chose this. You had a reason to come along. It's dangerous. Nobody forced you to take me. This immediately changes Joel's attitude and he has a great deal of respect for her at that point, and he almost lets his anger towards her go, just as it should be. We then continue on with Joel and Ellie walking down the road, and Joel's explained to Ellie that there's not just creatures out here that you need to be worried about, there are people out here which are terrifying. So that's setting up a future conflict which will hopefully have a really big payoff, and it also goes to show about how naive Ellie is about the real world. We come across a set piece pulled straight from the game. It's a diner or a shop that's been looted over and over again. There's nothing on the shelves. And Joel and Ellie have a good wee moment where she's making fun of him because he's stashed some supplies there, but he can go and do something stupid. She goes into a dark hole in the ground by herself. Why? She hears a creature and goes further in. Again, why? She seems to be showing that she's really angry at the creature. She starts cutting it up and then stabs it really angrily with a huge amount of rage. So that's going to come back later on. We move on to some more Joel and Ellie talking about how the world used to be, and Ellie's remarking at a plane that's crashed, and Joel's kind of telling her that it wasn't all great. You know, the flying was kind of crap, but she's amazed that you went up in the sky. And it starts to bring them a bit closer together. And that leads us right onto the next scene where Joel's trying to protect Ellie from going down a road where he knows there's something horrible. It's a mass killing field of uninfected people where basically there was no room for them at the QZ. So it goes again, shows the horror of the outbreak, you know. But that then leads us to the main part of the episode, where we leave Joel and Ellie behind for a little while and we go to meet Bill. Now, Bill is a prepper who's got deep paranoia about the government and the world, so he's been preparing for this for his whole life. His whole town is rounded up and taken to the QZ, which we unfortunately know they never make it to. Bill then comes out of his bunker and prepares to expand on his fortress around, so he sets up traps and fences, and he's gathering supplies, and he's setting himself up to be self-sufficient. Several years go by, and we eventually then meet Frank, who's fallen into one of Bill's traps. Now, Bill reluctantly brings him into the house, and they form a quick, and possibly even a too quick, relationship. This seems to go against the way that Bill's kind of been set up in the last wee while, but that's just a small niggle. It leads to Bill and Frank getting freaky, which has upset a bunch of people for some reason. I don't really understand why. But it's nice to see that even after the world has ended, you can still find happiness. We time skip another few years, and you see how Bill and Frank have set up their home, and they've evolved. Frank wants to spruce up the streets and, you know, make the house nicer for when they eventually have friends come around. Starwipe 2, Jess and Joel coming back into the story, and it joins the characters together. Joel and Bill teaches Bill that maybe he can't do everything by himself, and the two find a mutual respect for their roles in life, which is to protect the ones they love. Although I feel that Bill and Frank's relationship is much more in depth and grounded as compared to Tess and Joel's, but we may come back to that in a future episode in form of flashbacks. Another time jump, and Bill and Frank's life is going great. They're in love, their community is thriving. It shows that figuratively Bill's walls are coming down, not literally. We jump again, and Frank is woken up in the night by Joel's prediction coming true that raiders would come in the night. Bill fights them off, but he's injured, and then we time jump again, and it's nearly back up to the point where we are, but Frank is not well. He wants to die on his own terms. Bill and Frank have a last day of happiness before Frank takes an overdose so that he can just drift away. Bill gives Frank the overdose, but takes it himself as well, stating that Frank was his purpose in life. Then the two have one last meal, and they go to bed and die in each other's arms. It's an incredibly poignant and sad moment, but it's one full of love and hope. We head back to Joel and Ellie, who come across Bill's house and found him dead. Bill has written a letter to Joel where Bill reminds him of what his purpose is, which is to protect Tess. However, she died. So he's transferring that protection over to Ellie. Joel gears up. Ellie takes one of Bill's guns, which he was told not to. So that's definitely going to come up again. They take the truck, which is technically all that Joel really wanted from the beginning, so he doesn't need any Ellie anymore. But because of Bill's letter and sacrifice, he's going to take her to his brother, who was in the Fireflies. So might have some idea with what to do with her. We end with a beautiful Linda Ronstadt song, which perfectly sums up and captures Bill's story and the episode. End episode. So, in summary, this episode is where telling a story in a different medium allows for much more in-depth storytelling. Normally we only see the story through the lens of the main character when it's a game, except for a few cutscenes or some dialogue. Now in the game we find Bill has set up his fort and survived for years and is used mainly as a device to teach you some new survival mechanics. However, telling a story through TV, or HBO, not TV, allows you to see Bill's journey in much more detail. This also allows for Bill's ending to be changed and not to ruin the story. So in this way, having Bill survive to meet Joel would have disrespected the character arc he's gone through in the episode. So I also like that they changed Frank's ending. In the game, he gets bitten and then hangs himself while trying to escape from Bill after he's basically become... he's learned to hate Bill for his methods. Whereas the show's version of Bill and Frank could have gone that way too had he not made the decision to allow Frank to change him. So I much prefer this. It means there is still some hope left in the world and something to fight for and to live for. Honestly, if I was stuck in the game version of the world, I would just kill myself because it's completely devoid of hope. Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett play Bill and Frank respectively, and they absolutely nailed it. There are awards coming for this, for sure. And they will forever be the faces of Bill and Frank for me now. And whoever's doing the casting for this deserves a medal because they're fantastic. So, in conclusion, another fantastic episode, maybe the best one so far. It's an easy 9 out of 10 for me, only losing a point because of some forced character development, which would be fair if it had been done naturally, would have made the episode 2 hours, but I would have been fine with that because I'm loving the show so much. So until next time, remember to like, comment and subscribe below. If you agree with me or don't disagree with me, tell me why, and also I'll see you next time. Ta-da.